Hey, it's Robin from Rose and Lily. In this video, we're going to make this really cute gingerbread man. So, as you can see, he's got suspenders and pants and a bow tie. After this, I'll be releasing a gingerbread girl pattern as well, so stay tuned for that. First, you'll need some super chunky plush yarn, and you'll need brown for the body, and then I like to use green, red, and white for the other pieces. And then you'll also need a small amount of medium weight black yarn for the mouth. Then you'll also need some large or 15mm safety eyes, a USG crochet hook, a yarn needle, scissors, polyfill, and then I also suggest using stitch markers. The stitches you need to know beforehand are magic ring, a single crochet, double crochet, slip stitch, chain stitch, increase, invisible decrease, and also how to do a color change. We're going to start on the legs and work upwards. And we're starting with the brown yarn, and in round 1 it's 5 single crochet in a magic ring. I have a tutorial on my preferred method of doing the magic ring, and I'll link that up above. In round 2, we are doing 2 single crochet into each stitch from round 1. That means we're doing 5 increases, which brings us up to 10 stitches for the round. In round 3, we do a single crochet and then an increase. And we do that 5 times to bring us up to 15 stitches. In round 4 to 5, so that's 2 rounds, we're just doing 15 single crochet a round. But we're going to stop halfway in the last stitch of round 5 because we're going to do a color change. And here's my last stitch of round 5. And I'm not pulling through the loop to finish it because I'm going to do a color change. This is the start of the pants, so I'm using red yarn. And I like to twist my new yarn over with my old yarn before I pull the loop through. And now I'll do the next few stitches over those tails from the color change. Now in rounds 6 to 9, so that's 4 rounds, it's just 15 single crochet a round. And I'll do these 4 rounds off camera. Now with the first leg only, we're going to close with a slip stitch. And I'm going to put a stitch marker into the stitch. And now we can cut the yarn. So now you're going to do the second leg exactly the same way, but we're not going to close with a slip stitch or cut the yarn. Now for the second leg only, after round 9, we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to join it to the first leg. So I'm not going into that marked slip stitch, I'm going to go into the one after that. And I'm going to do a single crochet into here. And that single crochet is actually the first stitch of round 1 of the belly. And I'm going to add a stitch marker to this stitch as well. So we've already done the first single crochet of the belly, and now we're going to do 14 more single crochet into the first leg. And here's the last single crochet into the first leg, which is going into that marked slip stitch from earlier. And now we're going to do 3 single crochet into the 3 chain stitches. And now we do 15 single crochet in the second leg. And this is my marked stitch, which was the last stitch of round 9 on the second leg. And now I'm doing 3 single crochet into those 3 chain stitches again. And this round should finish 1 stitch before that marked stitch, which was the first stitch of round 1. So I finished round 1, and I'm going to put a stitch marker in the last stitch of the round as always. The first stitch of round 2 will be going into that marked stitch. So in rounds 2 to 6, so that's 5 rounds, we just do 36 single crochet a round. We're going to do a color change at the end of round 6. So stop before you do the last stitch of that round. Now at this point I like to check if there are any holes where the legs joined. With this yarn, you might get a bit of a hole where the legs join the chain. If this is the case, you can just stitch over them with one of the tails. So this is my last stitch of round 6, and I'm changing back to brown yarn. In rounds 7 to 8, so that's 2 rounds, we just do 36 single crochet a round. In round 9, we're going to start decreasing. So we start with 4 single crochet and then a decrease. And we do that 6 times to bring us down to 30 stitches. In round 10, we just single crochet all the way around. In round 11, we do 3 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that all 6 times to get 24 stitches. In round 12, we just do 24 single crochet around. In round 13, we do 2 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 18. In round 14, we just do 18 single crochet around. Now we're going to add stuffing. Make sure to get stuffing all the way down to the bottom of the legs. In round 15, we do a single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 12 stitches. In round 16, we just do 12 single crochet around. In round 17, we're starting with the head, and we're going to do 12 increases in a row. This will bring us up from 12 stitches to 24. In round 18, we do 3 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 30. In round 19, we do 4 single crochet and then an increase. We do that 6 times to bring us up to 36 stitches. In round 20, it's 5 single crochet and then an increase. We do that 6 times to get 42. For rounds 21 to 25, so that's 5 rounds, we just do 42 single crochet around. In round 26, we do 5 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to bring us down to 36 stitches. In round 27, we do 4 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 30 stitches. In round 28, it's 3 single crochet and then a decrease. We do that 6 times to get 24. Now we can attach the eyes. Between rounds 23 and 24, about 9 stitches apart. In round 29, it's 2 single crochet and then a decrease. We do that 6 times to get 18. If you like, you can stuff the head after round 29, but I'm going to do it after round 30. In round 30, we do a single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 12. And now we can stuff the head. Make sure to get enough stuffing in the neck so that the head doesn't wobble. In round 31, which is our last round, we do 6 decreases in a row. This will bring us down from 12 stitches to 6. Now we can cut the yarn, making sure to leave a tail for sewing. To sew the hole closed, we go through the front loops of the last 6 stitches. And then pull on the yarn which closes the hole. Then you can insert the yarn into the head into a few different places to secure that tail. And now the body and head are completed. And that's the end of part 1. I'll put the link to part 2 in the description box. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.